Get notifications and stay updated every time I post a challenge podcast by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you all and hope you enjoy. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this newest episode of the podcast. This is actually episode 46, believe it or not, and today is the 4-month mark of the podcast, so I had to do something a little special, and I had a guest who many of you have been requesting for months on here, and Avery, believe it or not, you've been at the top of my wish list for people who have wanted to interview. So the fact that this is happening right now is pretty cool. But she needs no introduction, obviously, but we'll give her one anyway. From the Real World Portland and the Challenge, Avery, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Hi guys.
How have you been with the whole adjusting to COVID and everything?
Honestly, it hasn't been too shabby. I'm back to work, so for me, it's just been kind of normal. I mean, besides the masking and everybody being a little ultra sanitary, it's been all right. Believe it or not, it's been okay. Definitely changes, but okay.
Yeah, I'm just counting down the days to where we don't have to wear these masks anymore. So.
See, and depending on where you work, like I have to wear it 8 hours a day and nonstop, and I can't take them off. So imagine just, I don't know, you have to wear one every single hour and minute that you work, but it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
No, definitely not fun. But we'll definitely get into all the topics that everyone's looking forward to hearing about, which is challenge-related stuff. You've been quite the hot commodity on Twitter, believe it or not, lately. You'd be surprised. So many people have been talking about how much they wish you were back and telling me to get you. So we'll definitely get into that. But first off, I want to talk about the Hooters, and I saw that you're up for, what is it, a cover girl for Hooters?
I am, believe it or not. I am. I'm up for the 2021 cover girl, which is kind of like a big deal in like my little Hooters world. So that's really, really exciting. It actually starts tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So.
Wow, that's incredible. Is there any do you know any information so far yet about maybe where we can potentially vote or when it's time so that I can people can go and do that?
Yeah, actually, it's really simple. We got the information today, believe it or not. You just go to hooters.com/calendar vote, and then it's an alphabetical order. So lucky me that my name starts with an A, and then you just click my little picture. So and it's number 9. So we'll see. Yeah. I'm a little nervous because you don't get to see the pictures that they pick, and I'm like, oh, come on, give me a good one, just a good one.
Yeah, you're lucky though. You kind of fell in the right spot in the alphabet. People don't have to go far to find you.
I know, right? I got lucky in that one. So there's about like 100 girls, I would say, doing it. So we'll see.
Yeah, and you had something also recently too with like the Ford modeling. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, see, like I said, my COVID has not been terrible. 2020 has not been super terrible. Yeah, I just got signed recently with the Robert Black agency here in Arizona for Ford for lifestyle. I'm really excited. And that was actually kind of by chance too. It was believe it or not, one of those Instagram castings. And I literally slid right into their DM and they liked what they saw. So
yeah, you seem to be living good right now. So good for you. I'm happy for you. So people, you want to go give Avery a vote. You obviously just heard at Hooters /cover girl. Go do that. I'll link that in the description when this is up. But now I kind of want to shift into the real world challenge, and something I always ask in the beginning for my guests is kind of to talk to me and walk me through their casting story / process, if you will. Kind of maybe what got you to try out for the real world, and maybe your story.
I see. I like this story. Everybody doesn't believe me, but I really like this story. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. Believe it or not, I didn't try out.
Okay, that's a good start.
And the reason I am so gung ho with Hooters is because I was working at Hooters when they casted me, working, not going there, working, and they had an open casting call, which I'm sure a lot of us know about the open casting call, where you guys wait in line forever and a day, blah, blah, blah. But I was working there, and I wasn't supposed to be working. One of the girls was sick. I was just filling in, being a nice lady. And so I was bartending, and then the whole day they just come up, the casting directors kept coming up and talking to me, and I was talking back, and then at the end of my shift, they were like, "Hey, come here for a second." And and I was like hanging out with them all day, and they're like, "Hey, we want a picture." And I remember Damien, that's his name, and I was like a Hooter picture, like a Hooters picture, you guys. Like I'm in my little crop top, because at the time at Hooters we're allowed to wear crop tops. I'm 21, and they're like, "No, honey, like we want your picture." Like, and then they gave me a sheet of paper, like this big packet, and they even told me the hotel they were staying at and everything. And they're like, "If you turn this in by 8 p.m., I promise you we will talk soon." And I was like, "What?" Like, because here I am, 21. I was living on my own. Like, I don't have a mom or a dad, so it's just like me and my dog. Like, can you imagine just being in that situation? Someone just basically gives you like a golden ticket and is like, "Hey, fill this out, and we'll call you back." Like, all right. So I did, and I showed up at their hotel, and I was like, "Here you go." Gave it to the front desk, and the rest is history. It's the craziest thing.
Wow, that's nuts. And anybody who watches this who's either maybe tried out the real world or been on, will definitely be a little envious of you.
I never thought in my life I was entertaining enough, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people on the show are very like out there, right? But I feel like you have to mix the normal with the crazy, because that's how you get the normals to act crazy, right? Because once the normals go crazy, then you know it's real, and you're like, "Oh, they got them." Like, so I was very shocked when they picked me, and honestly, the show made it work for me, because like I said before, like it was just me. I had my own apartment, like I didn't have anybody to watch my apartment when I went, or pay my bills, which is a big kind of thing, or watch my dog, big thing. And I remember conversations that they would call me, ask me a question, like, you know, um, so you said you have a dog. Yeah, you can't have anybody watch her? No, it's me. All right, give me a second. And then it'd be like an hour later, they'd call me back, and they'd be like, "So none of your castmates have a dog allergy. Your dog can go." That was a big thing for me. I was like, "What? My dog go?" And then they would call me back. They'd be like, "When does your lease end?" And I'm like, "Ends on this day." They're like, "Oh, so weird. The show starts the next day." Like, weird synchronicities, I'll say. But it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Wow.
definitely right time, right place in my book. I don't know what they saw, but glad they saw it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, there's obviously a ton of topics I want to talk about. But since we're on the topic of Hooters and then your dog, I kind of want to ask quick, because obviously working at Hooters, you have to be a wing girl, I'd assume.
Yeah, I do like a good wing, but I like American food though. Like that's like probably the best and worst thing I love to eat. And then it's like you give me cheeseburgers, French fries all the time, wings. Like, what's the girl supposed to do? Choose a salad over a cheeseburger? I don't know if I can do that in my life.
What's your maybe favorite style of wing? Maybe between boneless and bone, and then maybe sauce or.
I would have to say my favorite style would be the Daytona ones, because they grill them and it's like a nice like it's like almost like a glaze, like if you will. But I do like the boneless though, because I just like to get right to meat. Like, I don't like to like mess around with it. I can eat a wing though, and I do know how to do it very quickly. But if I could prefer to just throw them in my mouth, I will. But like I have to say like the Daytona, or like the Parmesan garlic, or even like just like the classic hot, because you can't go wrong with like a classic hot sauce. Dunk it in some ranch, you're good to go.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've only been to Hooters one time, which was in Virginia. I was on a trip with my football team, and we were coming back because it was like a weekend trip. and then we were coming back from like a basketball game in Richmond, and then we stopped at Hooters. It was so late at night, and like I didn't have an appetite for any of the wings because like I had ate at the game, and then all my like teammates were like taking pictures with everybody, and I just my only Hooters experience was me in the bathroom like
Oh,
throwing up, not from the wings at Hooters, but from what I had eaten at the basketball game. So I never got to experience the Hooters wings that everyone like hypes up like around my area. They talk about how good it is, and we've got a couple here in Jersey. But when I've had wings from like Buffalo Wild Wings, my go-to is honey barbecue boneless.
yep. You'd like our honey sriracha that good. I actually have a friend that works in Atlantic City. You ever go to
Oh wow.
Atlantic City? Ask
Yeah,
for
that's
help.
about an hour out from me.
Yep. She's Miss June. Just letting you know.
Yeah. Wow. But how is Daisy doing?
Oh, Daisy's so great. I don't know where she is right now. She's probably downstairs. But she's great. She's just still being like a little, she's just fat and old. She's living her best life though, I'll tell you what. She's so spoiled. And I recently had like a few changes in my life. So my roommate, I got a new roommate, which I've never really had a roommate, but she's like my best friend from Michigan.
Mm.
So she moved here recently and is staying, like now we're obviously staying together. But my dog loves it because she basically has two moms. So she gets treats from both of us. So she's living her best life having two moms. Like she's like, I love this. Like we always take her on walks now. Like she's just still a diva though. Don't best believe. Daisy is still a diva, still fat, still a little chunky.
That's awesome. But now
Mhm.
I kind of want to shift into, the pressing questions that everyone loves to hear about, topics. And, first off, I'll start with, what many people would call as one of the biggest real world fights in the history of the real world was between you and Nia. Could you maybe talk to me a little bit about how long that fight went on and maybe like how serious it really was and kind of,
Oh, it
talk to
was
me
real.
about.
It was real. Believe it or not, it was real. It was a real life thing. Okay, before we start talking about this, I would like to tell everybody, Naya and I are friends. Everything's good. We are friends, okay? We're friends. Everything's fine. Sometimes I think people, more so men, will probably relate to this. Like sometimes you just gotta fight it out, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. Sometimes you just gotta fight it out, and then afterwards you're like, we're good. You're like, we're good. It's like a mutual respect after that. I don't know. Maybe it's different. That's how I feel like it was. So let me just start by saying we're friends. We're good. Everything's good. The fight, I would say the actual physical part, probably I would say a day and a half. And it was a full day of that. Like leaving the house, coming back, it was they shortened it a lot in the episodes, especially like beforehand, like with the name calling, the egging on, this, that, and the other. But it was like a whole day. I would say a day and a half of like it's from the night before, from the whole day before it escalated into actually like having us leave the house because of it, which I thought was messed up, but it's okay. It's okay. But it was real. It was definitely real. Um, I don't think it would have happened if it wasn't for Johnny. I just think, that was actually the reason. Nia and Johnny didn't like each other, and it kind of rolled over to like, okay, well, now Nia and I don't like each other because now she doesn't like Johnny and Jordan, which were at the time my closest friends in the house. So, what would you do? Like that's what I ask everybody. Like, what would you do if you even saw like your boyfriend getting beat up at the time by a female that's clearly, I mean, Naya's big, she's 6 foot 6'1", Johnny's like maybe 5'10", like just on that physical aspect, I'm like, he's gonna get his ass beat. She doesn't go down with a fight, and like he's not gonna, I think he's the type of person like he's not gonna hit a woman. Like, first of all, don't do that. But like, what could you do in that situation? So like I felt like the only thing that I could do at the time was defend him, right? Like, I think, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. There was no other way that you could have went about it. I think you pretty much did what you had to do. You know.
Yeah, it just sucks that like I just looking back, I feel like it sucks that like like you are in that environment and I feel like it's just like one of those things like it just adds up. Like you just like explode, and that's like how I've always dealt with everything. I keep it in, and then I like freak out. And I'm like, and that's definitely what happened. Is it like was like I think all of us were just keeping it in and it was bound to happen. It was, just a matter of when. When is it gonna happen?
Yeah, for sure. But now I kind of want to shift into the challenge though. Why maybe? Because obviously the first season, right after your real world season, was Rivals 2, and we saw Jordan and Marlon, Anastasia and Jessica both like all come onto the show, and they were paired up with each other. A lot of people were maybe expecting to see you and Nia as a rivals pair, and then you ended up. I've read places that maybe you were an alternate for free agents, I believe, and no. I don't know. People like to speculate, but basically, my question is, maybe why didn't we see you, sooner on the challenge than when you did make your debut?
Dude, talk to MTV on that one. It's beyond me, bro. Like, I personally think, like, I'm not under contract anymore, so we can be real, like, I have nothing to hide. Like, I think that one of the producers didn't like me for some reason, or they must have liked another castmate better than they liked me. So they must have, like, almost hate to say it, bro. It's like politics. Like, it's like favoritism. Like, it doesn't matter what you guys want. It's who do they want? Like, who do they like to work with? Who who will listen to them? Who will do what they want to do? Who won't? If we say jump, we want you to say how high. And I'm like, wait, why am I jumping? Can we just kind of go back to that? Like, I don't mind jumping, but why am I jumping? Like, they don't like the questions unless they like you, and then they will help you get more questions from the other people. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, no. Well, it's funny that you mentioned about
Like, you're like, damn.
We'll definitely get more real, as you just mentioned later in this thing, because I think a lot of people would love to hear it. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, I've had quite a few people come on here and say similar stuff, but we'll, bookmark that. We'll get there later. But I want to ask you now. So coming on to the challenge, it's obviously the X's season, hence X's name. Maybe could you talk to me about your feeling coming into the X's? Did you have any idea, like okay, like this is what I'm walking into? Like, did you know like that was what it was gonna be?
Honestly, no. At the time when I was doing like the challenges, Johnny had done like I think like one or two, right? And so it kind of was messed up in a way because I was almost ostracized by the majority of like the main cast, right? Because they were friends with him. So they took his side without knowing facts, knowing really, really what happened. Um, so I didn't know anybody going into that. Like I had no idea who um was gonna be at the hotel because we just show up at a hotel. My roommate was Jessica, so it's like okay, so I know Jess is gonna be here, but I had no idea it was for exes, like none. And then what really kind of clicked in my head is we have to like all meet on a bus to go, and then we're like as a group, and then like I was like, wait a minute, click, 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 and I was like, oh shit, because like it sucks when you first go on a challenge, right? I mean, obviously you're like, I don't know anything about first challenges, Avery, but you're already sorry, you're already nervous. Didn't mean to cuss, sorry. You're already nervous. You're already nervous. It's a competition and you want people to like just talk to you or even get to know you because that's how you make alliances. That's how you figure out. But imagine going in that and having people already out against you because of what somebody, you know what I'm saying? Because of what? Like you've never met me before in your whole entire life. And the people that did meet me or that knew me, like Jordan, Jessica, Nia, they were like, calm the fuck down, you know? And that's actually why I think Nia and I became closer friends, because she was one of the only people that would really even talk to me or even say like, good morning. Like, can you imagine being in that? And then on top of that, you're with your ex, who's a complete douchebag at the time, because the show changed, I think, his ego, which is fine. It changes everybody's ego. I get it. We're on television. People change, but sometimes it's not for the best. And it just was like really stressful, you know, because I feel like everything that I did personally was under a microscope with everybody else. Like, Adam and I are really good friends. I can't even give Adam, you know, yes, they threw out the massage, you know, thing, because I think there's a massage thing like where it just shows me and Adam like giving each other massages. But they failed to show about an hour, the whole hour before previously. I was also giving Leroy a massage and Jordan a massage, and it was fine for them. But God forbid, you know, like even Nia was giving Adam a massage. Like we were all in a room. We're fuck, and just you know to clarify that it is very challenging on your body. It really is. That I know, like the show, you're like, haha. They train hard. I can't even say we because I don't do it anymore. They train really hard for the challenges, and it's not a joke, you know. And so you're sore, and so it's like that's really what it came down to. But people perceive what they want to see, you know, or it's like, dang, I can't give so and so a hug, but the other girl can grind up against them and it's fine. Nothing, nobody cares. But damn, if I do it, it was the craziest experience. It was very like double standardy over there. It was interesting.
Yeah, that's wild. But do you feel as though, because this is something I've heard as well, do you feel as though if the breakup between you and Johnny hadn't happened so soon before the show, you guys might have done better? Because obviously maybe there would have been time, would have healed some things, and you guys would have been able to coexist better.
Oh, I definitely think it would have been better, you know. I think for him, like I personally felt like I performed fine. Like I am that type of person. I played sports like my whole life. And for me, competition like that is almost like a release. It's almost like a therapy. Like I leave everything, like, you know, it's like leave everything off the court, you know, but it's true, you know, like I'm like, okay, I have an objective. Like I have to win. Like I want to do good, you know, and then afterwards, yeah, all those feelings might flood back, but in the moment for me, I'm just focused on, I don't know, like on the task ahead. But I do think that that played a part in Johnny's mind, and it kind of like messed him up, you know, like even like in my personal life, you know, I call everybody, like you can ask anybody that knows me on a serious note. I call everybody love, babe, you know, hun, darling. Like that's just how I talk to my people, you know? And it's just like, it's funny how things like get misconstrued. Like I can't say that to Johnny, but Nia can say it to Leroy and it's fine. Then it's like a sportsman type thing. But it's like, it's just so, it's the interesting dynamics is what I found out on that show, on that season. And I was hoping that when I went to Rivals 3 with Leroy, I was hoping to actually come more out of my shell and have people actually like see me for who I am and not attached to Johnny. Because my whole real world experience, my whole challenge experience, it was attached to Johnny. And he had the opportunity to be himself on the show without me and like showcase who he was as a person. And I'm kind of mad that after Rivals 3, I never got to showcase that. Like, you know, and they never called me back after Rivals 3. I never got a call back. I never got an availability call. So that kind of was like, I was like kind of let down because they brought other people in Rivals 3 to replace them. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that they could have found me a rival for Rivals 3. I'm pretty sure. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's you know, well, like I said before, we're gonna get into that, but um, yeah, you just mentioned about performing. Your elimination with Nia was, whew, like you guys went the distance on that, and you're like half her size. That was quite
That's
the
so
show.
serious. I thought I did pretty damn well.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna pull that out for a second, honestly.
It was hard. The carabiner clips. I need more upper body strength. That's what it was. They were so high. And she's just tall. She had an advantage. She's just taller than me. She has more leverage to pull it down. I couldn't physically pull it down. Just too little. But
But yeah, I'm staying on the topic of Exes 2 now. I want to talk to you a little bit about Nany. So we saw how Theresa and Nia were on the opposite side of the fence as Nany, and they got into it with her a lot. We didn't really see a whole lot of, you and her going at it, but it was, I guess you could say, mentioned a couple times that it was you, Nany, I mean, not Nany, you, Nia, and Theresa were kind of all on opposite sides of Nany. Were there any, maybe conversations or anything that happened between you and Nany, aside from maybe past history of obviously, what went on the prior season with her and Johnny, like maybe why you maybe didn't, see eye to eye with Nany?
well, it's interesting enough, again, on Rivals 3, I know I'm fast forwarding, we did have a conversation, a little drunk talk, and it was fine. We hashed it out, but they didn't play that when we were in the pool. Nope. I'm saying it's interesting. Yeah, I would say, to be honest, I think the Theresa, Nia, Nany, my aspect was, I was to the point, like, I didn't care. Like, I was just upset with, like, Johnny because, like, he never told me. Like, I found out watching that episode. And, like, that was just, like, completely disrespectful. And, like, my only thing that I had against Nany was I couldn't respect some person that her boyfriend, Kahata at the time, was, like, in this room. And then Johnny was in this room and you literally walked past your boyfriend's room to go sleep with this guy. And like that was my only issue that I had with her. And I was like, damn, dude, like, you know, for somebody to like, I know Johnny and I were having our problems. We were on a break on free agents. Like I was still living in Massachusetts. We still had an apartment. He told me, we were still talking on the show. He wrote me letters, So it was like we were having a rough spot and I didn't want him to go. And he felt like he needed to go. And I was like, okay, but I know what MTV is trying to do. I know what they're trying to do. And like, I get it. Sometimes you don't, whatever. It all happens for a great reason. He's happy now. I'm chilling. Everything's coherent, or cohesive. But I couldn't understand her thought process. And that's what really annoyed me. And I was like, I couldn't understand her thought process. And I couldn't understand how it was okay for her to do certain things, but God forbid I hug a person, then I'm the slut and I'm the bad person. But I was like, damn, I've slept with one person on this entire show and I'm getting slut shamed. I'm getting called all these bad names by you. The one, like by the person who's, it's like a pot calling the kettle black, Like, damn, dude. Like, you're going to insult me and try to bring me down, but you're doing the same thing. And at some point in time, like, I realized, like, especially on the show and like venting to like Nany and Theresa, I just don't think, first of all, Nany and Theresa just don't like each other. They've never really liked each other. So you give Nany and Theresa a reason to argue. I was just the reason for them to argue. They're going to go at it because their issues at the time were way beyond mine. And I was just, I think, a reason. Like they've always never liked each other. And then obviously Theresa's my girl. Like, okay, fucking Nany, I didn't like you before. Now you fucked over my girlfriend. Fuck you 2 times. Like, And then like I think they were just like, we're like little wolf pack, And then we got called the bad people. We got called it, but it was just us 3 against the whole house. It was literally team upstairs versus the whole downstairs. Like, what are you gonna do when you're all backed up in a corner? You guys we're gonna bite. Like, we might be like, like we might be cute and like cute, but like even a puppy will bite you if you back it up in a corner. And that's kind of how I feel it happened. Like,
yeah, this is kind of like a loaded question now. Were you surprised to see Nia have your back the way she did, and also maybe what drew you close to Theresa on the show?
Well, Theresa, Nia, and DM were my roommates. They were the only people that would really talk to me. Like, we were all in the same room. So we all got super, super close because we just couldn't stand the bullshit. Like, I think that's what it came down to. Like, it was like downstairs were super, super dramatic. And the upstairs people were like, y'all are crazy, but we want to go downstairs and watch the show and then go upstairs and kind of like talk shit because it's funny. Because you guys are acting crazy and it's really quite funny, you know? So, but I was really like shocked that like Nia had my back so much, you know, but I felt very like loved, you know. I was like, damn girl, like we really did come like a full circle, didn't we? Like, love you, you know. And like I always check on her. I think I just like liked her little thing the other day. But like I said, like the show fails to, I think, showcase the more like real side of like people. Like they didn't show the whole, I think it was like gosh, that bus ride was so long to go to Huatuco. I think it was like 8 hours. It was ridiculous. And that whole time, Nia sat right next to me. Like weird. Because I was on guard the whole time. Like I was like I remember sitting on the bus by myself because no one would sit with me. And she literally was like, boop. And she goes, all right, lay it on me. Tell me the whole side. I was like, we've all heard Johnny's side on Free Agents. I want to hear your side. And she goes, because I don't like either of you. And I was like, okay, like, but at least like I'm like, but she kept it real, you know. She was like, I don't like any of you. I need to. I learned a little bit about Johnny. He's all right, but I need to know because I don't believe this is really what happened. And I was like, damn, respect. Like I respected that like hardcore, and I was like, you really want to know? And she goes, yup. She goes, because you don't look guilty to me. She goes, you just look hurt, like you're so upset. And I was like, dude, I am. And then like I just bleh. And she fucking listened the whole time, and I gotta respect her for that. And she kept drilling me, dude. Like I remember it would be like 2 hours later, and she'd ask me the same question, and I'd like tell her the same answer, and I was like, God, why do you keep asking me this? And then like it was probably 2 weeks into the show, and she goes, you know, like the reason I kept asking you all that is I wanted to see if your answers would be different. I wanted to see if you would catch you in a lie. And I was like, you. And she's like, but you didn't lie. She goes, you didn't lie. And she goes, because some stories that I've heard keep changing and yours doesn't change. And I was like, thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. You know, like, so I think that's how we became close. And then Theresa was just our bunkmate too. And she kind of, you know, when she came into this, I think that honestly, because Theresa was kind of an outcast too coming in. And kind of what Nia was too. And then I was a little too. So maybe that's why we all kind of stuck together like the misfits. We were like, damn, we're all getting painted the bad guys. Let's be the bad guys. Like, hell, fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, as speaking on the Theresa's, you know, topic of things, that's actually the last, you know, show that Theresa did, the last show that Nia did. But since we're on the whole Theresa topic, this is actually wild. You know, spoiler alert for those that don't know. So fans obviously gather and, you know, get like who's going to be on the shows like beforehand, like somehow, some way. And
right.
yesterday it just rolled in that Theresa is actually in the quarantine right now to be on the next season of the challenge.
I would watch the challenge if she was on it. Like, give me one of my friends to root for. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds really crappy to say. I haven't watched a single season of the challenge since I was on it. Yeah, because to be honest, I can't follow it anymore. It's too much craziness, and I'm like, this is not how it was. And to be frank with you, I don't know half the freaking castmates anymore. I don't know who half these people are. They pull them from other shows, other countries, and I'm like, wait a minute. I gotta wrap my head around it. I just met the other one from England, and now you're from Britain. Okay.
But the wild thing about it, it's crazy to me, is because do you know Cara Maria?
Yeah.
I had her on, I think it was my last episode before this one, and we were talking. I asked her a question. It was, you, Cara Maria, the viewer, like, who would you want to see, like, back, like, on? And then her and I spoke in depthly about, and the name we mentioned was Theresa, right? Just like, and then days later it happened. It's like, and then I had people on Twitter like, you manifested this, like, oh my God. I just got lucky.
Watch Theresa kick some butt, because she always has brought it. Like,
oh, yeah, she's been unlucky on all her seasons too, with certain
like
twists.
that. And it's like, and she works so hard. Like I said much before, like everybody works so hard. Like I know, like haha, but they really do. Like that girl runs so much, so dedicated, and she's a mom, like of two. Like, and she's like, nope, gotta work out. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And I'm like, you go. I commend you. Like, damn.
It's impossible to root against her on this next season. She's coming back with something to fight for. You know what I mean? She's got like a family, 2 kids, so it's like, how could you root against that? You know what I
mean? Like she has her priorities have shifted. Like we might see a whole different side of Theresa that no one has ever got to see before. Like like I feel like like Theresa is hard. She is a tough SOB. But like Theresa's also like really a nice lady. Like she's awesome. Like when she's not competing, she is cutthroat, but that's the name of the game. That's how she's gotten to where she's gotten. And you gotta respect that. Like, yeah, people might not like her opinion, but damn, does she have one? At least she's not just following suit. Like, yeah. And I like it. Like, I'm excited. If she was on another challenge, I would watch a challenge for her.
Hey, I mean, I do after shows with cast members, and we give our thoughts off. She's back in next season. If you ever want to come on here, feel free.
Hey, I might. We'll do a recap. We'll watch it. Yes,
indeed. But now I kind of want to ask you, before we shift into kind of what we bookmarked, real quick, just to provide the fans some closure at night since they didn't get this pairing. How do you feel like you and Nia would have done on a Rivals 2 season?
Oh, I think we would have definitely made it to a final. I think that I have no doubts in my mind, to be honest. I think that we would have made a final. I think for the first couple weeks we might have been able to slide by, but then I think after people started to realize, because it would have been a rookie season, right? So people really wouldn't know what to expect. And I know we would argue a lot, but I feel like her and I would have came to a heart-to-heart, and then it would have been like a little switch, almost like, all right, game on. And I feel like people would have seen that. So like at the beginning, I think we would have had it pretty easy. Like I think Nia and I could have made it, but I feel like after like week 6, people would try to get us out. Just like I feel like we'd be like, oh, if we don't win, we're going in. If we don't win, we're going in. If we don't win, we're going in. Like type stuff. Like that's how I feel like it would be. It would have been like, let's keep bashing them. Let's keep bashing them. We'd be like, dang, we're just gonna keep eliminating you guys one by one until we get what we want. That's how I feel we would have done. Truthfully.
But yeah. Staying on the whole Rivals topic, though, because the last season, unfortunately, that he did was Rivals 3. And, coming into the season, Leroy's going to be your partner, which on surface, I mean, compared to, like, maybe other, I guess you could say, rivalries, it seems as though your guys' rivalry wasn't really much of a rivalry, so to speak. But that being said, on the flip side, it's like, in your case, you're getting pretty much what I would call physically the strongest person there, and he had already beaten like Bananas and Wes.
I was so excited. I was so excited. Him and I, the reason he was my rival, and this goes back to Exes too. I like Lee. We're friends now. He was a dick on Exes too, and they didn't show that, but he would talk shit about me and talk underneath his breath and make stupid comments. And I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And you're literally just like, oh, it was very aggravating. Like, everything that I would say, he would be like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, all right. Like, it was just like I did not Yeah, I did not appreciate him. And then we kind of like hashed it out because he was Nia's partner, you know. And then I think that kind of, as time went on, because Nia and I would hang out, he would go upstairs to hang out with Nia. He did start liking me at the end. He was like, all right, you're not that bad as everybody's making you out to be. You're not that bad. So when we did go to Rivals 3, I was stoked. I think too, if I had Lee, I think with Rivals 3, if he would have been healthy, I think we would have made it to a final 2. Like, hands down. Like, I feel like I've gotten robbed. Like, oh, I could have done it. Like Leroy, why did you do that? Why did you play chicken in the pool and hurt your back? You dumb. Like,
That's what I'm saying. You kind of caught a little bit of beginner's luck, you know? We're talking about the way, and listen, this isn't a slight to that cast, but if I'm going to call a spade here, the Rivals 3 cast as a whole, especially on the guys' side of things, wasn't exactly, you know. I mean, you had Wes coming in there who, you know, is a good, he knows how to play the game, but if we're from a physical aspect, he kind of came in that season just kind of there for the paycheck sort of, and he kind of like, you know, we didn't even see him again.
On Rivals 3, I was ready to compete. Like, I was ready. Like, I was probably at the peak of my physical. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys on paper, I mean, aside from Bananas and Sarah, I couldn't really pinpoint anybody else that could have given you guys maybe a hard time.
I feel like that's the craziest thing is Sarah and I were really good friends on Rivals 3. We were roommates. Again, Leroy and Bananas are roommates. We would have ended up working together. And we would have went right there. So even if we didn't get first, we would have gotten second. Like, it would have been right there. Like, it would have been I feel like it would have been a really good final. Because then you got like 2 friends competing against, like, literally 2 best friends now competing against each other. Me and Sarah have no animosity towards each other. Like, it would literally be like, game on. Like, game on. Like, it goes down to like, who wants it more? Who wants it more at that point? And it just sucks. It was thinking.
Yeah, it does. And you mentioned that you haven't gotten called since then, right?
No.
Wow.
No. Hey,
Yeah.
what a rip.
Yeah. The word robbed has been getting used a lot on Twitter lately when speaking of you, because when all the spoilers or the cast spoilers started rolling in, everyone's literally, I swear to you, on Twitter the last 2 weeks, everybody's been like, oh, we're getting these people and not Avery. And hey, I couldn't agree more.
I always get like now, because it's been a couple years, everybody's like, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't know me from somewhere. And it's always like when the challenge starts rolling out, people come out of the woodworks. They're like, were you on the challenge? And I was like, I was. And they always make the comment like, that's so cool. And I bartend. And I'm like, yeah, it's so cool. It's gotten me nowhere. Like, I'm back, like, I'm bartending. I'm working my ass off just like you. Like, it was a cool experience, but never really got me to where everybody thinks it could get you, right? Because it, like you said, it goes back to, are you casted? And I have no idea why I was never casted again. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of is somebody up there does not like me. And I have no idea why or what the hell I did, but they do not appreciate what I had to say or what I did. So, and honestly, I can't say that I'm necessarily sorry because I'm not going to change who I am. So I don't even know. That's like a catch-22, right? Like, I just sorry if I offended you or hurt your feelings, but I'm not, because isn't that the point of being on the show, is to be a real human?
That's what I'm saying.
I just don't understand. So that's where I'm at on that one. But yeah.
So now I'm gonna ask you though. Say if your phone were to ring tomorrow, and you see it's Bunim and Murray or the challenge, whoever, and they're asking, "Hey, Avery, you want to come on the challenge?" What is your answer response to that?
I would be like, hell yeah, I want a free vacation. Take me. I really would. I really would. I think so. I think I'd be like, fuck it, why not? Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen, right? What's the worst that's gonna happen? I've already had sex on television. I've already had a national breakup on television. Okay. So I still have yet to have a mental breakdown, which I think they would love. And that's about it. And I don't think that's gonna happen.
Mm.
Or another fist fight, but now you can't even like push somebody now. So
Yeah, no.
and that's my thing. It's like I'm not very good with my words. So it's like people would just like go to me and I'd be like, I don't care. You literally are not hurting my feelings. But if you want to meet me outside, I can. And I don't think they want that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is sometimes, you know.
It is what it is. I literally have a mug that says that. It's funny.
But I'm gonna ask you before I get into. Obviously, you mentioned about not, you know, recently watching. But I'm gonna ask, do you still keep contact with, you know, any cast members that you did shows with?
To be honest, no. I would say like I check in on everybody, but I feel like everybody is doing their own thing that I'm close to, you know. Naya's, you know, busy in her life. Jordan's killing it with Tori, you know, doing his fashion line and all that stuff. Like they're busy people. Johnny is, I have no idea. Jess, I do, you know, like I do comment on her pictures. Like I check in on them, like, you know, like normal, I guess, Instagram friends would, you know, like that kind of normalcy, but I'm never like calling them or checking in on them. I did talk to Anastasia recently.
Wow.
She's doing really good. She has like a little fiance. She's like super happy and like it's nice and like Marlon too. Like and it's nice to see it's I don't know, like it's almost like rewarding in a way. It's like a nice to see like everybody's like following their own path and like everybody seems to be doing really, really good. And like that's all I can like really hope for my castmates because like there's not like one like that I'm like, I just not even Johnny, you know, like everybody I feel is like doing their own thing and like living their best life. And I'm like, that's all you can really hope for, especially like with everything going on in the world, you know, like it's just like the little things. Like, okay, as long as you guys are good and like that's all we can really hope for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned Marlon. I'm actually, you know, pretty close with him. I've had him on here a couple times, so you know, that's cool.
Even he's killing it. Like he looks
Yeah,
so I mean, obviously, look at him. He's working out all the time. Like he's awesome. Looks like he's killing it with his rap game. Like I love that guy. I
yeah,
do miss him. There are some times where like little things like pop in your head and you're like, oh damn. But that was like I look back and I'm very grateful for like my MTV experience. It's cool.
Now, this is one of a fan question. They want to know, was any type of relationship picked up between you and Adam off the show?
No, Adam and I are just friends. That's always been like a little topic, right? Like I don't know why everybody wants me and Adam to end up together. It's like the funniest thing. But no, we're just friends. He's been to Arizona one time. I think that I've actually went out to meet him. He didn't come visit me. He was like here for work, and he called me. He's like, "Let's go out." And we did. It was cool, and it was so funny because he got recognized everywhere from his show, from the Are You the One show,
And
and
you
like
did?
nobody. Oh, and but it was great though. But it was like the best thing ever because we got it like it's so nice because as like a female, like usually people will try to like use you to get into places or like, hey, we're gonna follow you so you don't have to wait in line. It was so nice to have like drinks bought for me because of Adam. Like he did all the work. Like he did all the schmoozing, drink, all the work, and I just got to sit there and like watch. It was so nice to get a break from that, like not having to be like, oh yeah, ha ha ha. And then I was like, oh, do you want a shot? We're all taking shots. Like I was just that background person, be like, hell yeah, I'll take a shot. Adam, keep talking so I can get free drinks. You know?
Yeah, but you know, that's definitely good that we finally put the
Yeah.
kibosh on that rumor.
I've never had a relationship with Adam. I've never had a relationship with anybody on MTV other than Johnny Riley. So
There we go.
that.
But yeah, since you know, I just want to ask a few more questions. Obviously, you know, you haven't said that you've watched, and obviously not been on since Rivals 3. But now I kind of want to ask you though, on this past season, you've obviously done a show with both Bananas and Wes. And they've, I mean, it was on the forefront when you were there to see between, you know, how much they hated each other and working against each other. This past season of the show, they made a pregame alliance to be each other's number one allies and actually became friends out of it. What is your thoughts on that?
I think it's smart. I think it's a very smart move, you know, like just as a social game standpoint for both of them. Because now it's almost like everybody that was on Wes's alliance can now branch out and work with other people and like almost like a merger, right? Like now like everybody that like was like a big Johnny Bananas boat fan, like even like his closest like Leroy, like they might, you know, like, you know, all of his people might actually start working with, you know, someone on Wes's alliance, and they might even flip the script now on them too. So like it leaves the possibilities a little bit more open because there's also I feel going to be some animosity between like the like we'll say call them like the two tribes, right? So like I feel like there's still going to be some of that animosity there, not with like Wes and Bananas, but like the little side people. You know, like how can you trust Wes when he screwed you over so much? How can you trust Jack? And I think that opens up a whole other can of worms. So I'm actually quite excited for it and to see how everything plays out because both of them are very good players individually. And if they combined it, I feel like it could either be a really good thing or a really bad thing, depending on how they both approach it. So,
Yeah.
you know, entertaining nonetheless.
Oh yeah, 100%. But you know, we saw on staying on topic with you know, newer type you know, challenge. We saw the first season they started bringing from other shows was X's 2, which was your first season when they started bringing in Are You the One guys. Now it's evolved into Big Brother, the UK, Survivor, like pretty much every show. Like honestly, it wouldn't shock me if I got on the show at this point. They're
That's
pulling
what I'm
from
saying. And like I didn't mind the Are You the Ones. I truly didn't because they're like at least they're like an MTV show that like we all watch, you know? Like everybody that usually watches the challenge or the real world usually watches like an Are You the One. Kind of makes sense. I started getting thrown off. When they started bringing like Big Brother people on and like shows from the UK. I'm like, that's not even our like MTV brand. Like that's not, you know, like I know it's like we all have our networks and we're all owned by affiliates or whatever. But it's like the people that watch MTV don't know who these people are. You know, like hell, I could tell you who's on the Real World and the Challenge by watching the MTV, but like now it's like I've never even heard of this show. Like I'm like Big Brother, that's not fair. You're doing a whole nother cool ass show. I want to be on Big Brother now. Like hell, if I knew I had that option, I would have been on Big Brother way before I would have been on MTV because it used to not be you could only do one or the other. Like, you know, and I'm like, dang. I was like, that'd be interesting, but like I don't know. It just gets I can't keep track of the castmates anymore. I can't. It's hard to like. I don't know. It's hard. It's like almost like fake drama. Like I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah, a ton of people have said that they wish they would not bring back the real world, but start pulling again from like an example your case. Like people are talking about, I wish we would bring back like old real worlders instead of pulling from these other shows. Do you agree with that?
I somewhat agree. You know, because like I do believe a little fresh blood does definitely like livens up the mix. You know, um, but I do also believe that like people do like those characters. You know, like because that's you know like that's why you know Bananas and West are back so much is because people have grown with them and grown to love them or hate them or at least they know their background story. And I feel like maybe this is why I don't watch it as a viewer anymore. It's like I don't get that background story anymore on people or who they actually are. I just see like the crazy aspect of them. Like, you know, I'm like, oh wow, she screams and yells a lot, but like why does she scream and yell a lot? You know, like back in the day, you would actually deal with like real issues. You know, like you'd be like if the drama was there, it was actually something like real. It wasn't like so-and-so threw my hairbrush in the toilet, so now the whole house is gonna erupt. Like, I was just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
First world problems, bro. But like,
Exactly. Yeah.
like I remember, like, like when people were like crying, it's like, why? Like, why? Like, it's not like, oh, she's just exaggerating, she's crying, it's fine. Like, but it's, like, I miss that, maybe that genuinity of like people actually treating each other like people. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like it's lacked for quite some time, and I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and
It's
see.
like fake almost, like they're like not
Yeah.
themselves. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's like, be who you are. Like, that's the reason you got casted. That's the reason that, don't try to be something that you're not. I think that like a lot of people now want to pretend or want to be somebody that they think everybody else wants to see. Like, I don't know. It's very weird.
I agree, but I had a ton of fun doing this, and I'm obviously very appreciative of you to take the time to do this with me today, and hope you had as much fun as I had.
I did. I haven't done this in a very long time, so I'm excited that you even like offered it. So I was like, hey, why not? I have a Tuesday off. Doing nothing.
Yeah, I look forward to putting this out there. Obviously, you'll see once it's out there, and again, to remind people to vote for Avery on the it's hooters.com/covergirl.
Calendar vote.
Calendar vote. There it is. Okay, I'll link that in the description. And if I'm ever in the area and I'm going to Hooters, I'm praying that you're my waitress. But if not, I might cry. Oh, I'm kidding.
You just let me know, and we can work something out. I might not be your waitress. I might not. I might go in with you. We might go out to drink afterwards. But
Yeah.
just, you know,
And the offer's still on the table in the future as well for the after shows. And let's go, Theresa.
let's go. If she does, you best believe I will dabble, because I want to see how she does, especially with like the kids now. Like, ooh, show them what you got, girl. Like, show these like little young puppy girls. Like, no, this is how you really run. This is how you really do stuff. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, thanks again, and stay safe and take care.
Thanks, you too. It's a
Bye.
pleasure.